OS is one of the important modules in Python, apart from the sys module. So I created a virtual environment and I activated, and within that I'm asking. But OS is also like another module where it has an attributes. If you do DAR of OS, you get like a good number of attributes. But not every attribute is available in both the platforms. Means if you run the result in a Windows and Linux, the result may be different. Means there are certain operations which will not work in Windows, certain operations which won't work in Linux. So that's the reason these attributes are also slightly different. In general, so we don't use all these operations. Where they will be used in the code where Python is written in the backend, right? For that they will use most of the things. As an individual, we will use the most common things as per our need. So what we will do is like we will first take the values and walk through it based upon the things. Then you can better remember that. So first, let's work on the paths. So in terms of working with paths, first to see that, let's say I have a path. In Windows, the path will be different. Linux path will be different. And like, first of all, if you take like any file, if I take like something like a text.txt. So first of all, you need to know what is in the current directory and you need to work on it. Say, if I take like in the current directory, os dot get current working directory, if you ask, it will give the current working directory. So in a typically, if you are in a terminal, what you will do? If I go to the terminal, if you want to know the current working directory, so you say like, cwd. Similarly, so, present working directory, sorry. This is a Linux command. Similarly, Windows will have another command. Instead of you doing both of that, in Python code, you would say like os.get current working directory. Based upon the operating system, it will go and check. And in the current directory, if you want to know the list of files. So if you, in Linux, we do like ls command, right? To get the list of files in the current directory. So if any command line code, if you want to execute, you write a exclamation before it. Based upon the operating system, that command will execute. In the same fashion, if you want to do the same thing here, os.list_dir. If I give, I will get the list of files. Rather, if you want to get the current working directory or the list of files in some other directory, say assume that I have the root directory. For that I want to do. So I do like ls, two dots means one directory above. So one directory above means one directory above, these are the folders. You got it? In the same fashion, os.list_dir, if you pass, so these two dots, then it will execute the same thing. Give the list of values in that way. At the same time, if I do os.pair_dir, means if instead of you doing the two dots, it will do that. Means indirectly os.list_dir or os.pair_dir. So don't you think we are doing the same thing? So if you want like a clean code, you can do like that. So similarly, os.list_dir or like os.current_dir, both are same. So similarly, there is os.current_dir. If you ask, it will say this is the current directory. So it is same like here. Whether you give os.list_dir or list_dir of this one, os.list_dir of this dot, it will give the same answer. Or like if you give os.list_dir of os.current_dir, also it will give the same answer. So similarly, if I give like one level above, I can give a parent. So like that I can give. Not only that, if let's say I have one random directory, for that if I want to go to a list of files, using ls commands we can give the paths. Say like my project entirely, I want to get the list of files. In the project level, it will give the folders under it. If you want to know this directory, somewhere from the root or at the C drive, os dot, so list dir of give that directory. If you give that entire directory space, it will work perfectly. So, and did you see when you are parsed using LX, it is giving as per the order, but it is giving, so it's in its own order, right? It's just reading the values in a list. We don't like which one is coming first, which one is coming next, like that. So there is no proper order. Whichever it comes, it will take like that and gives us. So better handle it. Similarly, if you just want to get the list of files, it's okay. And if you want in an order, as you know, after getting the values, you can do a sorting to get, because it's a list of strings. Similarly, after doing these much also, if you still ask, so this present working directory, PWD, if you ask, it will say that you are in a particular directory, or os dot get current working directory, it will do it. But say if you want to change your directory level to one level above, how you do? You do like, CD, one level above. So you change your directory. I don't want to do here because both will do the same job. Instead of doing like that, os.chdar. So if I give like that 2D things, that also will work. Or like os.chdar or os.pardir. So this also will do the same job. So that's the reason I'm executing only one. After changing it, if I ask like pwd also, it will tell the same thing. Or os dot get current working directory also, it will tell the same thing. And did you see it has gone one level above? Now, if I just ask os dot list dir, so if you don't give any path, default is current directory. Default is current directory. So if you see what is the current directory, it is not at your file levels. You have gone one level above. So like this path management will happen. So you have like, so os dot get current working directory to get the current directory, list dir to list the files and folders in that, or if you have any folder also you can give, or os dot chdar to change the directory. So this one you understood. Now, after changing the directory, assume that, so you are to work on the some files. Maybe you want to create a folder, you want to create a file, like that. So let's see how to create a file, how to create a folder. So means folder or directory, these are two names. So folder concept came from the Windows. So directory structure is like from the Linux environment, but both are like interchangeable names. If you see now, if you want to create a folder, maybe at this level, within your level you want to do, means again you want to change your directory to yours, means within this directory you have like 04, you want to go ahead again. I changed the directory, and after that I'm asking os dot get current working directory. Now both commands in one place. Now did you see you have back here? Now for creating a folder, os dot, so how do you create a directory? mkdir, right? Say like my folder, something you create. So in the same line, if you want to create, you have command what? os dot mk os dot mkdir of, so my folder. If I create, now did you see the moment I created a new folder is created just now? And if I say os dot list dir, in the current directory, you see the your new folder is there. In the same fashion, what if I want to create like not just one folder, but like two, three, four, so modules you want to create at one shot? Then what is the best way? So for um, folder in. So you have some folders. Say first, say second, third you have. You want to create like this. So the only way you have is mkdir of folder. If I create it, it will create like this. Did you see the first, second, third, like that folders were created? So, but if you want like, say first folder, and under that first folder, you want to create like a sub. So maybe like, say level 1. Under that you want like level 2. Under that you want like level 3. Under that you want like level 4. So if you want like this kind of structure, then what is the solution is OS dot make dirs. Make dirs. This is another directory. So, and before explaining this, one point I forgot is that this mkdir. So till now, if a directory is already there, this is designed only for creating one folder at a time. And also, if a folder is already created, and if you are again asking to create it, it will throw an error. So if I say like, create third, as third is already there, it will say that file already exists. That is one problem. To avoid this kind of thing scenario, so in this thing, what we need to do is like, first we need to check whether path is present or not. So for that, os.path.exists, if you need to check exists of this in the current directory, you want to check third is there or not. As it is there, you don't want to do. So then like you need to have like a safeguard. If not os.path.exists of folder name, so os.mkdir of folder name. So like that you do, and you give the folder name. Folder name is equal to third. Then you see it will do a safe execution. So this is the two things. Only one folder at a time it can create, and all at the same level. Whereas if you want like multiple levels, this os.makeDirs will help. If you go for like maze dirs, if you want to know the help, you see here, it is asking the name, the mode, and is exists or 0. So what is the advantage is that, so before even going here, I can do the same thing. First, if I want to create a single folder called as third, I just do a third. If it is not existing, so it is throwing an error, right? Same like the above. Same like the above, it is throwing an error. Then, sir, you need not write this much logic, but like you can say os dot make dirs of the same third followed by exit OK is equal to true. It is like a safe exit. Means compared to an ordinary mkdir, if the file is already present, it will not create. If you ask like a fourth one, if and you write exit equal to OK, if it is not there, then it will create. Now, did you see a new folder called as fourth is created? As it is not there, it created. And not only this, as I told, if you want to create in multiple levels, you can use this one. Say under fourth, you want to create like say fifth. Under that, you want to create like sixth. Under that, you want to create like seventh. You have something like this. If you do like this, under the fourth, if you go, did you see under four there is a five, fifth, under sixth, under seventh is there? So whatever the structure you have, it can create like that. So os.makeDrs can do two things. For a single folder, if it is not there, it will create. If it is already present, it will try to modify it. So whether you want a single folder or multiple folders, you can create like this. So make DARS can do much better things compared to the MKDAR. So which is the extra functionality which you don't generally do in an ordinary way. Apart from this, how do you create a file? For a moment, I will park how to create a file, but down the line, I will tell how to create a file and manage afterwards. But like working with the file paths. So file paths to work. So there is something called as os.path. Means it's like a module under a module, right? Sub module kind of thing. This os.path has a lot of attributes. So from now you will see every module will have a sub modules like this. So till now all attributes will be with the basic thing, sys dot something, math dot something like that. But now like a sub module, os dot path dot multiple things. We already seen some of them, so we will see the others also. You see like os dot current directory is also there, os dot path dot current directory is also there. Means certain things are repeatable, so certain things are like the other. Now let me take a small thing. In the os dot get current working directory, I am asking what is the current directory. So os dot list dir. So means there is no file, right? Let me take one file. And for this file, I am asking, hey, os dot path dot absolute path. When you're working with a path, the most important thing you need to understand is, so absolute path. Absolute path means it doesn't matter that this file is present. If you ask like os dot path dot exists, so it will say that this particular path is false, not existing. But when you ask it for absolute path, how it is giving like this? Means it is kind of joining the current directory and the given file. Means it is like os dot path dot join. If you have like multiple things, if you want to join, this is how you use it. If let's say I have something like level 1, so say level 2, I have like level 3. If I have like this path, what it is saying? Hey, I need like os.path.join, not a list, but everything like a string. If you give like individual things, then it will work. Means not like a list, but directly you give it. If you give like multiple, so it will join. Then how it is understanding that it should give these slashes only? It is because that there is something called as os.sep. Everything is configured. If I do the same os.sep in a Windows, it will give the other slash. Only in Linux, it will be the other slash. Means indirectly, what os.path is doing is same as like delimiter.join, right? Hope you remember delimiter.join of, if you are given the same values like level 1, say level 2, and if I say level 3, if I have 3 levels, if I join, I get like this. But if I join with like os.sep, which is a string again, now did you see I got the answer? So what I'm trying to say, whether you join assert like this is same as it is doing like this in the backend. So whenever you give anything, it will create the path. In the same fashion, what is this absolute path doing? Absolute path means it is taking, it is same as joining two things, os.sep dot join of, so two things it is doing, os.get current working directory and the file name. What is the file name? temp.txt. So if I do, both are same. I can do assert also. So like that, this will happen. os.path.absolute path means it doesn't matter whether the file is present or not. It will just do like add it. In the same fashion, there is one more thing called as real path. If I give something like this, it will say that this is a real path. Means file is present or not is different. If I assume that I gave only the file name, it will give the real path. Means like, you see here, if I give from home, it will not do anything. Means it is a valid path. It doesn't mean that file is present. You gave from C directory onwards or in Linux from home or anything onwards. But if you just give a file, then it will add everything. Whereas absolute, it's not like that, right? Whether you give anything or like, so with the entire path also, it will be different. If I go directly, it will add the entire path. So whereas for the same absolute, if I pass on like this, the entire path, if I pass and say like, absolute path, you see now, like that it worked. In the same fashion, real path also. Now, um, similarly, sometimes you want to make a relative changes. So in that case, you can go for something called as os.path.normal path. Means it will do some kind of normalization. So for this, if I give like a simple file .txt, you see what will happen? It will just say file.txt. But if I say os.path. So norm path of, so generally if you go one level above, how you do? So you say like two dots slash, you go one level above, say to the four dots so and so, slash, say file.txt. Assume I wrote like this. So now it is taking it. And one more thing is like, sometimes within the path also we can have a, so one level above like that. Means within this go path to my, so you have like one level above. Then it will come above and remove this my, because you are going one level above, right? And you will get like this. So that's the beauty of this one. And similarly, if you go for like next thing, after this usage of the path, if you give like one path, and if you want to get the split text, it is not split text. Split text means like whatever you give, it will take the extension out of it. Whether you give the entire path or just the file name, it will do the same thing. It will create a tuple of two things. The first value would be whatever you give. So the second value every time means the first, this last value would be every time the type. So generally, whenever you want to analyze any of the files, mostly I use this one. In the same fashion, if I want to analyze some kind of drive, so then I will go with the, so split drive. Like a split text, there is split drive. In Linux, you will start from a root onwards, whereas in Windows, you start from like C or something. And one more thing, so which we need to be aware is, whenever you are working with Windows, you will have a slashes like this. So we need to place an R before it, because if you don't place R, it will think that these were like escape sequences and they will do their action. They may think like it is a slash T, means for tab space. To avoid that, we need to take like an R before it. Then now if you observe, did you see that split drive? In the first case and second case, how it is doing? So C colon slash, so it need to divide. So in Linux, it is not doing. But if you do the same path in Windows, it will give the C drive separately. So like that it works. And similarly, if you want to check whether something is a file or not, you can do like this. So means like, say you want to create os.user.so and so, or like you just give your path as it is. Say like in the current directory only you give text.so and so. It is saying false. Means it will check whether the file is present locally or not and give it. So how do you create a file? If you want to create a file, so we do like a file handler is equal to, so open of, say what are the file name you want to create, say file.txt. If I want to create in a write mode, I need to specify the mode is equal to write. This is mandatory. You need not write anything. So, but like you can, if you want to write, say like write off. So first line, and you can do like dot close. You opened a file, you wrote something, and you closed it. So before doing that, I am asking os dot get current working directory. If you see that in the current working directory, you got it. And like os dot list dir, if you see, there is no such file. Now I created. Then like if I say os dot list dir, it will give it. So your file is present. Now for this file, if you ask, hey, os dot path dot is file present, then you will notice that yes. So file dot txt is means like, oh, I gave like okay, instead of temp.txt, if I say file.txt, so if I give file.txt, it will say true. And os.path.exists, os.path.exists. So for that also, if I give like, so file.txt, in the current directory, this file is there, right? So it will say true. So like this, these paths will execute. And also next, in terms of ops, so file operations and all these things I will tell afterwards. But if you want to do some kind of actions, means you want to execute some commands. So executing commands. How do you want to execute? If you want to execute commands, there is something called as os.system. So os.system will execute anything. Generally in Linux, you have multiple commands. If you go to the terminal also you can do, or say anywhere. Even Windows also we can do. But any at the operating system level, say like I have ping google.com. I have executed ping. So it is saying like in the server, ping is not valid. Maybe like I do like if config, because in Linux, if you want to know the configuration information, you do like that. So what is this if config, sir? It is one of the tool. So if you give that, it is saying what are the different ports and how it is working. Because it is created in a container, certain things are only valid. Similarly, if I go clear, so clear is another command to clear the screen. Then if I say another command, say like if I want to do some other actions, so I can do all of that. So whichever you want to do on a command line, if you want to execute via this, so that's where we need to go for uh, os.system. If I see here, whatever the Linux command, say like I will take a very simple example, ls-la. So this is your typical command in Linux to list all the files, including the hidden files. So like this. So if this command need to be executed using os.system, you need to pass as an input. So for that, ls-la, if I pass on, did you see the same thing happened? You got the output also and the result is 0. What is this 0, sir? Means not every command is works perfectly, right? Means if you don't write the code properly, it will not work. Maybe like in the ls command, I'm taking ls instead of -la. Let's say I'm taking like ta, I'm writing. So of course there is a ta also. So maybe like I will write some even ta if I execute it, right? If you want to execute os.system of, you pass like that, ls hyphen ta. If I give, it is executing and giving those values. And whenever it is executing, it is giving the answer as 0. But if I execute, say, ls hyphen something rta, if I give, oh my god, so it seems like everything is working. Maybe like I do like ud. So or like I give, say Uday, I give. It is saying like it's a invalid command. You cannot work like this. So this is a invalid command. Now, if I do the same thing, os.system of ls hyphen Uday I give. Now, did you see? Whatever the command you got, result, the same thing you got. At the same time, you got a error message also. What is this 512? Means OS system is giving you that error number. So that error number can be useful for like working with this operating system. Operating system has like some predefined codes. So it's very simple to understand. If you execute anything, if it's something is executing perfectly, it will execute with exit 0. Means if it is returning 0, means everything is good. If it is returning non-zero, means something bad happened. So like previously, okay, OS commands we have seen. In the same fashion, if I say IEF config is there, IEF config is there, it works perfectly. So it gives some answers. If you want to do the same thing, os.system of IEF config I do. So whatever it is executing, and it will do finally so and so. Means if I take the same value and get the result, so means like say result is equal to directly like this, and I'm asking to print the result. I'm not asking to print others. So, but like others will get print because that is not in our hands. It will just get like this. So it will print all the statement as part of the things, and it will store the result. So, and if you ask, hey, what is the result? Did you see result is value of 0? So like that, if everything works, if it is working successfully, it is something. In the same fashion, say IEF config, say I am doing Uday, means I am giving some bad command. So device not found. So for the same thing, if I do like os dot system of this command, so it is executing and giving you 256. What is this 256? It has a meaning in the operating system. Because they are operating system commands, they have some meaning that they can understand. But it is not 0, right? So if anything is non-zero, you get like this. So they have like predefined errors. But if you do the same commands in Linux, every time it will be 0 or 1. So 1 if everything perfect, 0 if everything is perfect, 1 if there is a problem. But in Linux, you can see different codes, right, which are coming. So based upon that, you can do. A simple example to understand and do how to ping is. So it's one of the code, okay, for you to just understand. I am writing. Maybe like I'm taking, say, B commands.py, something. So I created one structure where you see here what will happen. Ping a site. If you want to ping, os.system of ping the website name. If you give, it will ping it and give the output. Similarly, clear screen. If it is Windows, CLS. If it is Linux, clear. So I can use the platform command. So means like in the system.platform I can use, or platform module also I can use. Sys.platform is very easy to understand. And then like if I want to get the IP address, in Windows it is ipconfig, in Linux I have like this. So like that, for everything I wrote separate functions, and I'm asking the flow. Means first to clear the screen, then print an empty, then ping a site yahoo.com, then ping a site yahoo, then like clear screen ifconfig, like that. So don't you think I created some kind of automation? So if let's say you have like 10 steps to be executed for a software installation, make all the steps into this os.system and you can execute all of them. So that is what like one use case. So one more use case, if I say like if you want to kill certain things, so processes you are running in Windows, primarily in Windows, if you want to work, there is something like os.system of task kill. This is a Windows command to execute. Of course, it doesn't work here because like there is nothing like task kill it says, because it is a Linux environment, right? Docker container. But in Windows, this system command has some value. Now you understood what is the importance of os.system. It can be like very powerful. It can do a lot of things. Next, one more thing, scanning the files. So till now you understood how to read the current working directory. So if I say like os dot get current working directory, get current working directory, you got one directory. If I say os dot list dir, you got the list of files. In the same fashion, there is another thing called as os dot walk. What is this os dot walk does is that it is saying like missing one per argument. Means I don't work by default with the current directory. If you want also, you should explicitly give. Maybe like I will do os dot current directory instead of a single dot. If I execute, did you see it is a generator? Then like what I will do? I will do like convert to a list or iterate or it. That's what right generator means. Generator or iterator. If you want to get the values, either for loop or it or convert to another data type. Maybe like I'm converting to a list. I got like crazy amount of things. So what is this to understand better? Basically, uh, every time it will give some values. So first I will do one thing. I will take a list. In that I am taking the 0th value. Means like one iteration I want to understand. If I give 0, did you see in one iteration you got 3 values? So now to understand further, every time when it is looping, it will give you 3 values. So it will give you 3 values. Means the directory, the list of DARs means directories in that directory, in that current directory, and the list of files in that. So like that, it will give 3 things. If I pass like os.current directory, so it will give these 3 values. Now, if I ask to print them, because you are getting 3 values at a time, you are assigning to 3 variables. It's an unpacking concept, simple to understand. Now, did you see what happened? So first, you are in which directory? In the current directory. In the current directory, what is the current directory? Dot. In this, how many folders are there? So first is there, fourth is there, fifth, sixth won't come because they are not in the current directory. So fourth, fifth, all these things came in the folder. And in terms of files, you have these as the files. These were the list of the files. And then it till now os.listdir also will do this one. It's not a big deal. But os.walk will walk through each of the subdirectory. Means first it will go to this first. In this directory, are there any files? No. Are there any folders? No. So it gave like empty. Then it has gone to the second directory. In this, do you have any folders? No. Do you have any files? No. Like that. So like that, it will go to the fourth. In this, do you have any folders? It have a lot, but like not in all the directory. One level only, we have fifth. So in that fifth, there is nothing. So like that, then it will go into the fifth. Then it will go to the sixth. Then it will go in. Means like for any directory if you give, from that ladder, it will go all the way down. Say like if I am giving one directory level above, instead of current directory, I am doing like os dot say par dir. Now if you see, so one level above it has gone. In that one level above, what all things are there? So in this one level above, if you see, so these are all the folders, right? It gave the list of folders. And there is no file in this directory, 10 modules, no files. In that again, it is going further to each other folder structure. So not only that, if I go for the higher level, means I can give a custom path also. Maybe like say, I give my entire path I want to give. So I can give like that. If it is a Linux path, so there is no problem. But if it is a Windows path, you need to write a R before it. Now, if you see, you got a list of all the values. So it's a big structure containing what is the current directory, list of files in all the things. So means like there are too many things. If you want to analyze, let's take a good example. This is one of the good use case. So whenever you are doing a scanners, so hope you are using like virus scanners, antivirus scanners. What they will check for? They will check for the entire system for any executables, means .exe files or like anything. And if they are present, then they will check whether they are correct or not. Say like that, if you want to check for any file, give you a directory and check path, means which extension you want to check and what is the path you want to give. So how I create a program, see very carefully. If I say like scan files by extension, say like I want to scan a known files, let's say .py files I want. Because here we have like .py also .ipynb. Say I want to scan for .py. So where I want to check in my entire folder structure, means I will give the entire thing. So why only the introduction? So I will give the entire project. In this entire project, I want to check for these files. So how do you do? I told that whatever the path you want to give, you need to give like this. So here you took the path. That path I will pass. If I pass the path, each time I get all the values. So if I ask to print each of the values, you see print of each path, you get the list of each of the directory. Each of the directory, subdirectory like that. Though you don't write the Git. So did you see the Git structure? How the commits and all these things are stored? This is how it works. But like if you want to check what you want to check, in each directory you are going, you are not interested in the directories. So whenever you are going in a directory, you want to know about the list of directories and the files. So you are only interested in the files, not even the dirs, not even the current directory or so and so. So then what I will do, in the list of files, I want to check for each of the file. So instead of printing that, so in the particular case, I don't want both of them. Either I can write with an underscore or just ignore it. Now I got a list of files every time. If I just print the list of files, so list of files, if you execute, so in every directory you are getting the list of files, what files you have. Okay, now if you get a list of files, you want to get to know these files. So for file in list of files, so I want to print the file. Observe very carefully. So individually every file is coming now. In each directory it is going and giving me. Now, if you remember, I told one thing that there is something called as os.path.splittext. If I go for like each file, maybe like I'll write instead of a file, I'll write each file. For that each file, I'm doing a split text. Split text means if you give the entire path or just a file name, it will give two values. The first value will be whatever you give. The second value will be the extension. So for git ignore, anyhow it is last. There is nothing. But for others, you are seeing. For markdown, you are seeing a .md. So for .txt file, you are seeing a .txt, .py, .so and so, .ipynb, like that. Means for every file, you are seeing some extension. Now, means like if you take, it has two values, but we are interested in the 0 and first value. If I execute, for each of the value, it is giving the extensions only. So fine. And what if I was not even interested in the each file, only the extensions? You can see all the extensions I am coming. Now this extension, I can write to something. Maybe like I will mark it as a file extension is equal to. And now I want to check the given file extension and this path. So this file extension, is it equal to the given file extension? If it is so, then we want that files. So what we can do, maybe like for time being, I want to print that each file. Say each file. So now did you see only the .py files are coming now. So if you want to store these results, so in a file when you're working, instead of printing, so then like I create a list, and for that list I append append of this one. Finally, after all things were done, I will return that list. Now in this case here, whatever you give, it is giving in a structured way. Whatever files are there, .py files. Now I can do some operations. So like total how many number of files are there? If you want, so like you can do like this. And similarly, what if now you want to check for only the IPYNB files or markdown files if you want to check. I do like .md. If I want to check the markdown files, I will give totally how many readme files are coming. You are getting a list. So if you just want the files or the entire extension along with that, you decide. Say like if it is just giving me readme files, it makes no sense for me. I want the entire file structure. Means in each directory, what is the file you are getting, right? That's what it is giving. So os.path.join of, you have that each directory and the file name, whichever you want, that file name. So I give like this. So now you see, so whatever the readme files are there are like empty files. Their structure entirely it is coming. It is up to use when to use something, you can decide. And by default, you also need to understand that the structure of this os.walk will be from top down is equal to false. So means like walking from down to top. So that is in fact crazy. Don't go like that. So it will confuse you. But that is another way. In the same fashion, like os.walk, there is one more thing called as scan dir. They introduced after like some versions of this scan dir. What does this scan dir does? So first, so I don't give any input to it. So voice.walk, if you don't give any input, it will throw an error. It will not just go and get it. But like voice.scandir, it is not throwing errors. And if you pass like some input also, it is a iterator. Did you see earlier? So voice.walk is a generator. This is an iterator. Iterator. So means like if I want to convert to a list, if I convert to a list such that I want to see. Now, did you see what happened? Every time when it is parsing, it is giving like a directory entry and the file structure something. So maybe like I will do what? So for each in the scan dir of this path, whatever give, I am asking the each object. Did you see each object you are getting? Now, after getting it, I am asking, hey, what is the type? Whenever you want to work with anything, you need to know the data type. It is saying that I am of type POSIX date, so DAR entry. So due to this, like if I want to know the structure of the things, so it has some operations. So means for this each, I can do a DAR of each. So to know what all attributes it has. Typically, if you say, is it a name? So is it a file? So what are the statistics? So what are the file path? All these informations are by default they added it, which are not there in the os.walk. So generally, if you want to get it, so uh, now I take the same thing and I can ask the statistics of each other file. So I can take like is file. So dot is dir or like each dot is file. So a comma each dot is symlink. Symlink means like shortkey. So what I would say, on a desktop you will create a shortcuts, right? So whenever you have something somewhere at somewhere else, you just create a shortcut. So like that, it is a symlink, not a file, not folder, just a reference to something like that. And similarly, if you want, you can ask dot stats. So I can ask all this information. Anyhow, you know that this is of type this one. I don't want this information. But the other things you can pick. So am I a file? Am I a folder? It is saying like a built-in directory, built-in so and so, right? For everything. So then what is the best thing you can do? So you can think like this. Is dir, is file or not? Is a symlink? So like what are the stats? Now you see what will happen. So it is a directory or not. So file so and so. All this information and statistics. Did you see this interesting statistics? This statistics is saying that when this file was created, what is the mode, what is the last modified time, what is the creation time, all that information you have. So means let's take for this each dot stat will have this one, say file statistics if you want. So like this also we can get because it's the last file. So from that file object, if I do like dir of this file object, you can see. So what is the modified time? Nanoseconds. So size, what is the size? All that information. So now if I want to get, so I can say like, file size and ask, so file stats, because that you created, from that I can ask. In the same fashion, modified time in nanoseconds. So, so file modified time, you can get, you see? So, okay. So file stats dot modified time. And did you see this is giving like a timestamp? So if you are given a timestamp, you cannot understand what is this. So basically why they give timestamp means to make it unique for everyone. They do like that. I think, okay, sure. Now let's take a program. So filter files based on size. So based upon size, if you want to do, if this is a use case, sometimes during the automations you will get to know like, get the large files greater than a particular size, less than a particular size, like that you will get. So let me take one good path for you to understand. So instead of taking some other path, let me take a path which is very unique for everyone. If you take like the sys module has something called as executable prefix. This executable prefix means where you are. If you are within a virtual environment, you will get the virtual environment path, or if you are somewhere else, that particular path. Now, what is the beauty of this? Means whenever you install Python, so if there is no virtual environment, it will point to the base Python. If it is so, it will point there. And under that folder structure also there will be some files, right? Some folders, files, etc. There will be. Now, if I want to parse this, that as a one thing, then I will do. So now my logic is that I want to filter the files greater than 1 KB. So get files greater than, and if you give some size, so give some size is equal to so and so. By default I write like 1024. If I do like 1024, it means like I'm saying is 1 KB. So 1 KB means like 1024 bytes, right? If I go inside also I can do. If I do like functions such that I can reuse it. So how to the process for each dir? So list of dirs from a list of files. So you do like this only, right? In os.walk of, you were given a path. Maybe like take a path and work on it. Path. So within that you walk through, and you are not interested in the directories or current directory. You are interested only in the file names. So I am interested in os.list of files. In that each file I go, And if I want to get the file statistics, so first I need to get the entire file name. I cannot ask, the file statistics can be written two ways. So if you go with os.scandir, they will come by default. But if you want the other way, so you need to give the file name to print for us to understand. And os dot, there is something called as path dot get size of. If you give that file name, it will give that. But the problem is, okay, I need to call it right. So get files greater than, and I give the current directory. Assume something again. So it gave it. So it will give in current directory, that is fine. But if you go like one directory above, say like if I go to my os dot, sys dot executable prefix, this path if I want to give. So if I give this one, then it will throw an error. Sir, earlier it didn't throw an error, then now why? Because every time if you give a file, it will check in the current directory only. But not every file is in current directory, right? So in that case, we need to create the entire file name. So to get the file path is equal to os dot path dot join of, you give that. What is the each dir? So in that directory, you have this file name. In the directory, you have a file name. So this is your file path. So the file path you need to give instead of the file name. Now, if I give that file name, then it will work. Observe carefully. For each of the file, how much size it is having, that it is giving. Now, this size, if it is greater than a particular number only you want. So now I will mention, if this size is greater than your size, which we have mentioned in the top, 1024 or something, in that case only you want it. So in that case, you can print the size and this one. Maybe I'll write something like this now. So for whichever it is greater than 1 KB, you got that list of files. So you got it. Maybe like if you want the files in the ascending order or like top 3, all those things you can do. So I gave like one example. Now in this example, you have explicitly done this os.get size of and doing it. Now if I want to do the same thing with os.scandir instead of this, using scandir when I'm working, I will not get like 3 values. So it's not a this way because I won't get 3 values. Each time I will get like each object. So I will get only one, which is like each object. Within that object only I have everything. So that object will have whether it is a file or a path or whatever you have. So and within that object, if each object dot is a file, then only I want. So I can say if it is a file, then within that I want that file. So print of each object. Say like I'm commenting this line. You see now what will happen? If it is a file only, you are getting. So otherwise, you are not getting into it. So then for each of the object, they have like this concept of stats. So if you ask the stats, you get it. Now from the stats, what we need to get the size. You see, you have the size. So st.size is there. After this stats, if I ask the size, you get it. So instead of you going all the way and you doing this processing, you can directly get it. So the size is getting. And in the same fashion, if you want the file name also needed, right? I give the size, and if you want the name, you give the size and the file name. So now I did like this. But in the entire directory, so is it correct? If you see that, it is not going to the other directories, right? Only in the current directory, it's doing like this. So if now I am giving a small assignment that, so like os.walk get all files with size greater than 1 KB in above code. Above code. In this above code, so do that. So with this, I told you about the basic things, and also write a script. Uh, like to delete all the .pyc files. So one more assignment is, so write a function to delete all the .pyc files in all folder structures in entire project. Okay, entire project, because it makes no difference, right? If you delete .pyc files also, how to delete it? So I told, like, os dot, so like make dir, there is something called as remove dir. rmdir is there. If you want to remove a directory, you can use it. Say like you have a directory, say like I will have like first, I want to delete the first. Now did you see after that first was removed? So if you see now os dot list dir, so it won't be there again afterwards in current directory. So similarly, if a file was deleted, say like now I go with deleting, say second, I deleted. So after that, if I do os dot list dir, did you see that the second is not there? Okay. What if you are deleting something which is not present? Then it will throw an error. That you should be aware. So that's the reason every time when you're deleting also, you check, like, if, so for creation it is different. So os dot path dot exists of, you give that second. So only if it is present, you delete it. So when you're creating, if it is not present, you create it, right? os dot make dir. So this is like this. Similarly, os dot remove I am taking. So let me take something like a, so third. If I do like a third, I am removing. So it is saying like, hey, is a directory. So means directories I cannot remove with os. With remove, I can remove only the things. So os dot remove is primarily designed to remove the files. If I say file dot txt and if I remove, did you see the file was removed? And after that, if you say list dir, so this file dot txt is no more there. So os dot remove is for the files. os dot rmdir is like that. And in the same fashion, there is something called as remove directories. Like rmdir, there is something called as remove dirs. So the remove dirs, how it works is, if I say like, I have a folder structure. I think like fourth slash fifth, like that I have, right? Say fourth slash fifth slash sixth slash seventh, I have this structure. If I do os dot remove dir, it has removed that structure. So that is the beauty, same like the others. And even if you have like a single folder also, os dot remove dirs will do like my folder. If I do, means single folder also it will delete, multiple folders also it will delete. Now let's see. Same thing if you have already deleted and you are trying to delete again. I gave the my folder again. If it is not present, it will throw an error, right? But at the same time, so in os.remove.dir, so if you do an question mark, means like you are asking for the help, or you do like a help around this. In both ways, you ask like what to do with it. It don't have like, so exit okay is false, like that it's not there. Means it will fail if it is not there. If you want to use it, you need to use like that. So based upon these things, inputs, so try to complete this assignment, that you walk through the files and delete all the .pyc files. PYC files means os.remove you should use. So like that, you can use these directories to help. So next thing. So if you want here, there is one more module like OS. If you want like the process level information, there is something called as 04A psutil. At this 4 level itself, psutil. So psutil file. So maybe like I will take that cells directly and help you. Means it will give the process level information. If I now create it to .pynb, that is how I copy a .pynb file, because like you cannot copy the entire ipynb file like a Python file. So what is this psutil module? If you want to use it, first we need to install it. So generally, let me write this first code. Pip install whatever the module. Till now, whatever the module you have, you are just using it. But if you want to use this module, say initially if I do a psutil, it will ask a virtual environment. If you see that datetime module, I will tell afterwards that psutil, it is working perfectly. Means like it came in the built-in. Earlier it is not part of the built-in. We used to install. If you want to install anything, pip install psutil. So it is saying that already it was installed in the side packages. Did you see? Means any installed modules will be placed in the side packages. So it is there, you have it. Now what you can do? So if you ask the boot time of the system, how much time it took after the system was loaded. So it was 23 today itself, month, so and so date at 2 o'clock. Now it is like this 4. So how much time, at what time it was started? And what is the CPU percentage usage in terms of? And in terms of virtual memory, what is the total virtual memory available, memory usage, and all these things. And similarly for the disk usage, how much disk was already used. And in terms of process ID, this is more important. What are the total number of processes which are running in the operating system? Or right now I'm working in a container, how many things? So number of processor 22. And if you are interested in the first 5 processes, I took only the first 5 processes. And for those processes, I'm asking the details. Hey, give me the details about this. So it is saying that a node is one process which is running. So, and similarly, Python 3 is one thing. So, and like Python is one thing. And again, node is something. So like that, different processes are running. So, and what is their status, process status? What is the memory, CPU usage, memory usage, start time, everything you are seeing. But did you see here also start time is given as a number. So this is called as timestamp. So why they give is like to make it unique so that anyone can process easily. And similarly, if you want taking a particular process, every process will have an ID. Some number will be there. If you take that process ID number and if you want to delete, so generally in Linux also, if you have a commands in terminal, so what you can do, the PS commands. If you say PS means process level commands you give. What is the process ID? It is saying 31565 750. It is not that you give this process, the process will be already there. So PS-EF, if I give, it will list all the processes which are running. So see here, 1, 2, 3, see, so everything is a process ID. That process ID and word is working. Now, if you want to delete a particular process or amend or anything, suspend, you can do these operations. Take the process ID and pass to it. You get the process. And if you want to suspend, you can do a resume after suspending. And if you want to kill a process, you can do. So you are like you take a process name and it will iterate and get this particular process name and get the details. Means Python related how many processes are running. In this system at this moment, 2 processes are running. These are the process details. Similarly, net, so IO counter. So net IO counter means interfaces, network interfaces. So generally, if you have a laptop will be connected to an Ethernet port, means via wide or with wireless. So like that, this container is having a Docker port, Ethernet port, and a IO port. So each of these interfaces and their interface details means how many bytes are sent with it, how many bytes are received. We are not using Docker at this moment, so Docker networking, but like we are using the main Ethernet. How many bytes were sent, how many received, that information you see. So for each of these interfaces, it is asking in detail, like how many bytes sent, how many received. That's what in detail. And also this network connections, if you want to see, are like partitions, disk partitions. How many partitions are there? So how many partitions, all the disk partitions you can see. And similarly, the CPU percentage, how much your memory. So earlier it was like 73, because in my laptop it showed, as it is a container, containers don't have these sensors, right? So you don't get it. But if the others are having, you will get that information. So that is what it is about. And in the same lines, like this, if you want to work with the paths, there is one more thing called as path lib. As we are here, let me complete that also. So 04B, say path lib. So as you are going for data engineering, you will work about this path lib a lot. This path lib to work with, say like, let me take that path lib entirely, paste it, and .ipynb. What is this path lib? It was like a relatively new module. So, but like it was introduced to make your path accessing easy. Whether you are in Windows, Mac, Linux, it doesn't matter. You can make it easy. Already OS module is there, right, sir? Then why we need a path lib? So you can, if you don't want, you need not use. It will be an extra help. So any way IPython notebook, the first thing is like import should be all in one place. It's a best practice. Pathlib is again a built-in module. I think it was introduced around Python 3.6. It has a lot of attributes like POSIX path. POSIX means Linux. So Linux, all these things. And pure Windows path, pure POSIX path. Means it can give a pure Windows path, pure Linux, both ways it works. And generally, if you want to know the get current working directory, you say like os.get current working directory. But for this module, you do like pathlib.path.cmd. You just do a cmd, that's it. And if you want to know the home directory, so you just do os.path.home, that's it. Means it knows how to get the home directory path. So, and similarly, if you are in a Windows, the Windows path it said. But now if I'm executing now, as it is a Linux, it will give it. So os.path. So and so. It is saying that it is a POSIX path. Earlier it showed a Windows path because in Windows it worked like that. And similarly, if I go with the current working directory, in that current working directory, till now what current working directory means, you get a string. What is a current directory? But this is an object. Means we can iterate over this object and get only files or so and so by using this thing called as isDar or isFiles, like that. So if you see now, so in the current directory, it will check. In current directory, there are no other files. So that's why it's not giving. But if there are any files, it would have give. Similarly, in the current directory, there were no more other files. So if it is any other file, it will give. Say like I will create one sample folder. So sample folder. Say like I create a sample file to sample file.txt. So instead of creating inside, I create that file outside. I place here. So now if you see in this directory, there is one file, one folder and one file. Now if I iterate on it, you will see. So it is having that one folder. It will give the POSIX path of the entire path. Earlier you remember, if you get a file, you get a file. But if you want the path, so you need to again join to get the entire path, right? But you need not struggle now. So similarly, if you want to get the file, you can just directly get. You need not struggle like what you are getting and all these things. So that is the advantage of going for this. And in the same fashion, if you want to go one level above, so you just do like os.path of one directory above. And if you want to change directory, same like that. So change directory they didn't do add, but only the file managements they added it. And in the same fashion, if you take any path, so for that matter, let's say I am taking this path, the entire directory. So if it is a Linux path, Windows path, see here how I am giving. So R is placed before it, right? But if it is, say, I am changing to one directory which is not present, then it will say that no such file is present. This is what you should be aware of. File not found error. This is the most important point. Whenever a file you are searching is not present, it will tell that. And similarly, if I give this current directory, so means like the entire structure, and if I give, so it will say like the current directory is the project level. And in the project level, now I'm asking, hey, os.path.join of current directory dot output.xls. In fact, that file is not present. You do. So, but like the path it will show. But if you want to do something like that, so in other way also you can do. Instead of doing these two hard ways, you can simply do like this. It's very easy to for you to understand. Current directory you write a slash, give the string, write a slash, give the string. Generally, if you do in ordinary way, it will not work. But here it works. Now, you need not worry whether it is a Windows or Linux path. Based upon the operating system, it works. So, and if whenever you want to do any file operations, it's very easy. And os.path, if you want to join to, you can just do path of so and so. So if you give a single folder, single file, if you give like multiple, it will do a slash. That slash also depends upon the operating system. And if you give three right now, you see the first two, it will treat like a folders, the third one like a file. And now you see here, I have home, ocean, animals. So again a path. Now you see here, the entire structure, how it created. And similarly, if you want to create a relative things, means if I create a big path and I'm saying that shark should be created related to this ocean. Now, did you see the below ocean it created and below this? So like that individually, the relative operations you can ask. And not only that, for each of them, I can ask parent. So parent dot parent. So parent dot parent dot parent. Like that one level, two levels above. And also based upon the platform, if you want to create a path on your own, you can also explicitly pass. Means if you use individually comma separated, it will do automatically. But you have a ready-made path, you can pass that and tell based upon the operating system. I took the same path. In Windows, I can say like pure Windows path. In Linux, POSIX path. So as it is like POSIX path, pure POSIX path, it will give like that. Or like pure path. Means by default, it is Linux path is a pure path. So then like if I go further objects, is it an absolute? Is it a pure path? Is it present? So I can give all the things. So it is saying, is it a pure path? Absolutely false because that file is not present. We are asking about a Windows log. Similarly, if I ask, it says this file is not present. So you can ask like all those details. So the main thing is the Linux makes it the pure these functionalities are much more easy here. If I like sys.executable, it will be present in both the directories, right? I can get it. So why it is throwing error? I cannot have a Windows path because you are passing like a Windows path. So I will give like a POSIX path. Now I will get the entire structure. In the previous things also, it didn't work because of like that. So I need to give a POSIX path. In Windows, Windows path. In Linux, Linux POSIX path. And whenever you want to create a folder structure, just a slash is sufficient. So similarly, if you want to work any operations, of course, Windows path doesn't work in Linux. Linux path doesn't work in Windows. Based upon the operating systems, you can do certain things. And all these operations, just how you do. And if you want to read a file also, you can do like this. So how we do in a Linux, touch a file to create a file, right, in Windows. So like that you can do. And if you want to rename everything, you can do like clearly. So this is how. And if you want to do, there is one more thing I forgot to tell. Is about the, glob. This is very interesting module, which you should be aware of. So as you are working with Linux environments, so I know this would be the last. So C glob usage dot glob is like a module IPYNB. So till now we have like os.listdir, os.scandir, os.walk, even path also you have seen. In the same fashion, now you have a glob, means like in the current directory, if you want to get all the files, or like if you want to get all the files which are like starting with a 10, or like starting ending with something else. So like that, if you have some things, you can go with it. Say os.get current working directory I'm taking. So I am somewhere here. I am asking os.get executable prefix. Of course, it will be there everywhere, right? I am taking that. So now I'm asking, hey, what is your prefix? It says, what is the current directory? Now, till now, if you want the list dir, how you do? So we do like os.list dir. So that is how we do. If I do a list dir, it will just give the list of files. But if I do like glob.glob with a star, so that also will give all the files. Star means everything. So now you need to know a bit about regular expressions, how they work. So, and if you want to work with only text files, you do a star.txt. Then next you will learn about regular expressions. All regular expression patterns you can write. If you want only the text files, can we filter with os.txt dir? No. We need to get the values. Again, you filter the things on your own. But whereas here, what you do, if you do like text star.txt, you can filter only the text files. As it don't have any text files, you didn't get it. So maybe like if I give a couple of text files, so my file.txt, so another .txt, say like some dot maybe like um, tsf. I give like different file formats. So now if I ask the same thing, hey, give me the only text files. If you see in the current directory, oh, I did here, right? I should go somewhere here. So it is checking here in this directory structure. If you are asking for somewhere else, so they should be have been if you go, but it is not walking through entirely. Observe carefully. In this directory structure, there is no txt files. So that's a point. So similarly, if I ask like star slash star means not in directory, but one subdirectory you can check. Means one level down means either not in the current directory, but in the current directory, what are the folders are there? In those folders, you check for text files. In those folders, check for a text file. Unfortunately, in those folders also not there, one level down. If I do like a star slash star slash star, means go like 2 levels down. So when it has gone 2 levels down, under the lib, under Python, so means like under site packages, you have some files. In that files, there is a txt files. So like that, it is checking which level you want to check. Or like just you, if you want to check for like a raw, you can do like this. You see, so if you want like 2 levels, 3 levels, like that you can tell. But sir, I don't want to know how many levels are there. I want to go any level up, down. Then you should do like 2 star slash dot star. This is very important. The same regular expression you use even in your git ignore also. So like that. So means like you anywhere, any down, you want to do like for text files only. Then in that case, you write like recursive equal to true. Then it will give a list object. From that, you can recursively check for all the files. So recursivity checking. And from that, we are extracting only 10 values because there were too many things. So that's why I'm extracting. And in fact, it gives a list. That's why I'm doing a direct, slicing. If it gives a iterator or a generator, we cannot do a slicing, right? That you should be aware. Next, after this, so one more thing to be aware is, if I want only the license files, so I did a 2/slice license.txt, means not any txt, but I want license.txt only I want. I can give it. And in the same fashion, if I want to like, so under lib site packages, in that I want like this. means there should be a star, means anything. There should be a hyphen, means in every folder structure there should be a hyphen. Under the folder structure there should be some name. In that name there should be a hyphen. Means the regular expressions I will explain you more clearly down the line when you going. So, but like whatever you are telling, if the pattern is matching, it will get. And similarly, say dot star, if you want like both txt or csv or json files, you just give it. So for the same thing, if you want to check like in a recursively in all the structures, so you check it. So if there are like the so and so files, you can check it. Maybe like 2 stars slash this star, and you want to check in the recursive equal to true. If I give, so recursively it is checking all the directory structures and checking for these files. So like anything if you have within it, it will give. And in the same fashion, if you go for like side packages like this, it is going and telling you, right? So any structure you give, it will give. And also you give a folder structure and you give like get all the files. And if you want to sort by the get modified time, say observe, this is another interesting thing. The files, if you want to sort by their modified time, I give like the os dot path. So sorting. So now if I ask for the files, now did you see the files which are coming? So in this directory structure will be in this way. Means at this moment the files are not coming. So means like I didn't use the entire structure. So if it need to do in the current directory in check. And did you see I gave a capital lib. If I do a small lib, then it works. In Linux, there is no case sensitivity. If you give capital or small, it doesn't matter. But in Linux, it matters. And similarly, in Linux, if you go one level structure level, means like if you want to get based upon the size, if you want to sort, like that, you can do all the things. So this is all it works. Okay. And similarly, you are giving a pattern and you are giving some regular expression. So I will tell you about regular expressions afterwards. But if you want to give more regular expressions also, you need to understand a bit of glob module. And the last package to be aware within this OS environment ecosystem is about the shutil module. Shutil primarily is shutil, okay? Shutil module. So shutil main usage is that if you want to copy one file from one directory to another directory, you can do like this. Say like I have one test directory. Say like test dir one I have. And similarly, I have one more test dir, say like test, or like let me write like a source directory and a destination directory. Then you can better remember. Source uh, source dir I have. Similarly, I have a destination dir. Now from the source has one file. Say like file.txt. Say source file.txt is there. Assume. Say like maybe like file1.txt it has some data you have, it doesn't matter. So it will work at the file movements only. And similarly, at the destination you have one file. So maybe like at the destination you have something. Maybe you don't have also, it's fine. But let me write a usage.py. So I do like a simple py itself because I want to copy. So if you want to copy, so we can use the copy module. So means like, sorry. So import shutil. So similarly, we need to have the OS module for working with the operating system. So these are the two modules I need. From where I want to transfer to the where, that I need to have. Say I have a source folder structure. So means like source path I have. And for the destination path, if you want to send some file, so define copy file, say source dir, you need to give the source dir. Similarly, destination dir, destination dir, and file name that you want to transfer. This is what we want, right? So, so how I create a file, I'm doing, see here, copy file I'm doing. Copy file for this particular thing, I need to give a source directory. In the current directory only you have source. So what are is the source directory? So I have the source here, I am taking. And similarly, what are is the destination there? I am taking that. From source, you want to transfer to the destination some file. What is the file name you want to transfer? In the source, there is a file name 1.txt. The same file one you want to transfer. So I give that file name. Now I have three values I give. Now how to use it? So there is something that we need to do. First of all, if file is already there in the directory, it will not work. If the file is not present, then it will work. So then what we can do, if the file is already present, you cannot do, right? So I will create the source. So whenever you give like a source, you just give a directory. So I need to create a source path. Source path is equal to os dot path dot join of this source dir and the file name, right? So don't you think so? So we need to have like this. Similarly, so destination path is equal to os dot path dot join of what are is the destination directory and the file name. You create like this. Now first, every time it's best practice to check os dot path dot exists. Which one? The destination. In the destination path, if that file is already present, you can do nothing. So if a file, if you want to remove, we should use a remove, not a rmdir. So I can use a remove to remove that particular destination path. So maybe like I will give a print statement also that, hey, file is already present. So I am deleting it. And then I am deleting that path. And then I need to copy. For copying, you have like shutil dot copy file. So you see here the path. So this is my file, right? So maybe like our function. So don't confuse this with our the copy file. So I am not making it complicated, but making it easy for you to understand. So from the source path, you want to go to the destination path. So shutil will take the source and destination paths and it will do the operation. And observe, till now we know that whenever you want to work on any directory, you can directly work or indirectly. Say clear the screen. So I need to navigate to this directory because it is using relative paths every time. So it would be confusing. So if you do it from outside, then you don't know from where to go where, because you never gave from the root onwards. So if I say path, so every time when you're doing file operations, be aware of this. If you execute, it will say that I know such directory, because in the current directory there is nothing like source there, right? So whenever you're doing a file operations, either give the entire path or pass like this. If I do like this now, I am going to the directory. If I clear the screen and if I do a ls, I have source and destination files. And if I say Python a usage, now did you see the files were transferred from the source file to the destination? So earlier in the destination, there is no file. If you want to see again, I am deleting it. So if I select ls, I get it. Ls destination directory, if you see, there is nothing. So now if I say Python a usage, so if you see now the ls command, so ls destination folder, you can see one file is coming. So that file you have transferred. So like this, you can have like multiple things. So just like file, copying a file, copying an object, and all those things are there. Shutil provides all the things. And whenever you're copying also, you can change the file mode, etc. So with this, I have completed the basic things about the file operations and the OS module mainly. But the other file operations I will tell separately.